Alright guys, welcome back to the Services Auto Adventure video. So right now, we just got the announcement of Derieri, the Dragon Slayer, coming towards Auto Adventure, and what should you be summoning? Before we get into that, I thought I'd mention it because they posted it after the patch notes, but there was a bug where you're able to get like multiple of the same rewards during the ranking reward event, which they have now gonna revert basically. But yes, Dragon Slayer Derieri is the newest tank coming to the game, and while I normally sometimes don't like to make it some beforehand, I thought this one was definitely more important because we still have a current active banner right now, and a lot of people are considering this character already mid. Now I will say one thing about Derieri is that she has some outrageous stats. I mean, if you look at the stats of this actual DPS one, right, she has outrageous stats: 30 million HP, 1.3 million defense, and to compare that to an actual tank, granted she has got higher stats, it's very similar towards Esterosa, right? Only a couple million behind in HP, little bit like 200k defense difference, and you compare that towards like a Berserk melee, right? Like, the difference in HP and defense is actually crazy. Now, that was because Derieri is meant to run to the back line, but hey, you'd like to hope that the tank version of Derieri will probably be a bit more tankier, right? Now, for those that haven't seen the kit, let's quickly run through it just quick. It's very simple and not hard to understand, but she's got 242% attack on a single target, actually very high for like a normal skill. The injection ability is going to give her a buff that is then going to give her accuracy by 50%, which then she's, I guess, a little bit more likely to hit skills, which if she's a low dupe level, that's kind of good because getting accuracy when you're low dupe level is definitely more important rather than later on. And you also get your evasion towards 50%. Now, this is kind of important, right? Because there is the strat with evasion, if you don't know what evasion is basically when someone hits you, if your evasion is high enough, you are, or they're more likely to miss, which means they do 0 damage. So there actually might be a strat here where you actually want to go full evasion with this character. The only problem is, though, is that, well, people are duping out the characters quite high. So you really kind of want to dupe out this character quite a lot to where your evasion stat is actually high enough to where you can actually start, like, you know, avoiding stuff. But even then, you know, she has got the immortality, so you could lean into that. We'll definitely try it and see what's better. But then again, you might want to go towards HP, but once again, it kind of depends on the stats. You know, if she's got outrageous stats, you don't need to, or if she's got really bad stats, and you might have to. We'll have to wait and see. Heavy Strike is going to be an AoE skill, 940% attack onto all characters within the 5-meter radius of the initial target. Bear in mind, she is a close-range character, so she'll just basically hit like Esterosa. And this is where, like, the possibility of, like, what's coming next is kind of what I want to talk about. We kind of brought up in my last video, but grant Dragon Scales towards tank allies for 5 seconds, which will then reduce their cooldowns by 2 seconds upon a successful attack, and they're going to get, and your tank character, so her herself, by the way, but also, you know, Esterosa is the only important thing. You're going to give Esterosa a 20% actual final attack buff and also defense as well. So it's kind of smart that they released Esterosa again, so you're able to pull both together, right? That's kind of the idea behind it. But my problem is, right, is that, well, we just kind of got a character that kind of buffed up Esterosa, right? And if anything, probably better. Elaine gives green characters, which is basically Esterosa, because if you think about it, this actually is better because you're giving it towards Esterosa, you're giving it towards like Monspeed, you're giving it towards, you know, your green Escanor, you can even give it towards the other king as well if you summon for him. Like, Derieri is literally only giving it towards Esterosa. And the difference is that Derieri has to use the ultimate, where this every 5 seconds. And if you don't know, Esterosa's counter is every 5 seconds. So this actually lines up most of the time, always proccing with Esterosa's full counter. So, which basically just means that Esterosa, whenever it uses full counter, is more likely going to always have a 20% final attack buff, where for Derieri, it's not every single time you use a counter. It's only when you use the ultimate. And maybe there's like some RNG a little bit where you can't get the ultimate off, so it's only going to proc once, where this could proc like over the course of a match, like 4 times. Of course, you are not getting that defensive buff, but you are getting that crit defensive buff, so there's a little trade-off there. So, like, I'm struggling to find a use for Derieri right now because you just rather use Elaine, and you get this ignore attribute damage one as well. She's got some decent AoEs. I actually use her with King as well. So I think there's a lot riding on this character to the stat wise, because you just rather use Elaine, who's probably likely already summoned for if you ever actually have done that. However, there is one thing that I think we gotta talk about, and that is the 6-month anniversary. If you don't know, the 6-month anniversary is literally right now. But of course, we only get our big banners at the end of the month. So that does mean in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be getting a new special rater banner. I'm going to be blunt. I think it's Assault Meliodas. We got an affiliation called the Another Side of the 10 Commandments. Could that be for Assault Melee? Maybe. And at least for Assault Melee on 76's Grand Cross, he was like the first character to come out where it literally just said, you have to use 4 commandments. When I can use Elaine to buff up Estarossa, to me right now, I don't see a point of using Derieri unless she does unreal damage, right? However, if you're forced to use Assault Mode Meliodas, who's a 10 commandment character, and you're forced to only use 10 commandments, and you therefore cannot use Elaine with Estarossa, then this Derieri is now looking like one of the best partners for your Estarossa. So yeah, that is definitely something to think about when it comes towards Derieri. So I think with that said, definitely not worth summoning. I saw a few comments saying if I'm not summoning for Derieri, should I be summoning for like Estarossa or Fat King? Honestly, Fat King, if you're at this point, if you don't have a lot of diamonds saved up, definitely skip King. Like I said, you have 2 weeks to get 250k diamonds. So if you know you're going to have 250k diamonds within the next 2 weeks, then you definitely can do some summons on King here, or maybe even going towards Estarossa if you do not have him. But I do not think it's a coincidence that we got, you know, Derieri and Estarossa, 2 cat characters for the commandment team to release right before what is going to be the 6-month anniversary. And I just struggle not to see it being Assault Melee. If we're being honest, right? There's a big milestone. Or maybe not, I mean, it could be just, I guess if they don't want to do it, but like, or just like another commandment. Like, I guess it could just do like another commandment. So yeah, with all that being said, you know, I think right now, no one really should be summoning unless you have an excessive amount of diamonds. If you do, Derieri, thankfully, is only a 160,000 gem banner. So for people below like 200k gems, definitely do not be summoning. For people that are above like 300k, then you probably can summon and still have diamond for the next 6-month anniversary character. But also, if you have a lot of diamonds and you're a bit like, I don't know if I want to summon for Derieri, you can actually wait, because we will have the actual 6-month anniversary character, you know, revealed the day before the Derieri does actually leave. And at that point, if we do see it is Assault with Meliodas or a commandment character, then that will maybe actually buff up this Derieri. Then yeah, summon for Derieri on the final day, then going towards your Assault with Meliodas, whoever the actual character may be. But if it turns out that it's actually just, you know, Cross on Escanor with his armor, right? Then like, yeah, okay, you don't need Derieri. Sure, she'll get better later on, but at least we know it's not the next banner, and you probably have time to save, and then once she gets added to the banners, you'll be able to summon her later on. To do a quick final review of King, I actually really enjoy him. I actually still use him in PvP, but definitely probably will replace him now, coming out with obviously, you know, Derieri, just because I do like Derieri. But yeah, he's not bad. Like I did say, I do not regret summoning for him. Like, I want to get the few copies that I got for him, so now that I've gotten him towards like 6-star now, I think over time actually gets added towards the general summon tickets, and we just get access towards more copies of him over the next few weeks to months even. Then I'll slowly build him up, and I'm sure we're going to get more fairy characters and sin teams to buff him up a little bit, so don't regret it, but definitely not needed right now. Like I say, his only use right now is a little bit usable in PvP, but definitely more usable in Tower Trials. So while it's not necessarily a waste to summon for him, you definitely do not need him right now. But if you want to summon for him, you can. But like I say, that was only 2 weeks ago. If you're summoning for him now and you don't have a lot of gems saved up, definitely don't do it. I think for the people that did summon King, you know, 2 weeks ago, you should already have like 100 and something K gems saved up, and obviously by the time we get the 6-month anniversary unit, you have more than enough gems saved up. So I do think that's all we to say for this Derieri. Is it worth summoning? Probably not. It's just super risky right now to summon for before the 6-month anniversary. Even if the character that comes out is going to buff up and make this character better, but you know, we have to wait and see who it actually is. Regardless, we will be summoning. Definitely looking forward to seeing her stats, because, yeah, I feel like there's something missing with this character, right? And that's kind of how it's been for a lot of characters to come out recently, with like Lilia, then coming out with obviously Zeldris, and this Elaine being followed by King. Once again, we're kind of in the same situation. This Derieri is missing something, because surely she's not being made to just buff up Estarossa. Who knows? Maybe we get an Assault Melee and he's a tank character. You know, we'll wait and see. So guys, thank you for watching, and yeah.